Is that okay with you guys?
Sure.
Okay. Try to give you some gifts and all that stuff. Who was in the Point MMA workout yesterday? Did y'all like the workout?
Oh, it's good.
It's good? All right, thank you. So, turn this thing off. All right, so we have some sheets that we gave you. We're going to cover these points. It's called the 10 points of Point MMA. I like to always cross-reference things. That's what I learned from my instructor. So we talk about we all know that right now, one of the fastest growing sports is MMA. It's not going anywhere. It's just constantly building. Now it's on, Fox TV. We see all these things happening. They predict that in China and Japan, it's going to grow faster in the Asian countries than what it's growing here in the United States. But I come from a traditional martial arts school, and one of the things. Good morning. Good morning, sir. You have a gift from the chick, t-shirt, and all that stuff. I come from a traditional martial art based training in China and all those things. And also coming up on the sports karate circuit, where I know for a school, as a school owner, hey sir,
Sorry.
as a school owner and also as a father, I will never have anyone standing up in my martial arts school with tattoos, earrings, and anything that contradicts the image that I'm setting for my children. All of my children are in martial arts. My oldest son, he's a world champion. My little babies, I do not want them to represent anything. So I love MMA, but I don't like the culture of MMA. So when I look at sports karate always been a wholesome thing. When we talk about freestyle sparring, there's always something that was like the core element of martial arts. But how many martial arts schools teach sparring anymore? None. Most people go in and get black belts and their kids can't even do a kick or a punch. Or you go and do a seminar and you tell somebody to hit a fighting stance, they cannot even do a proper fighting stance. So when the average consumer see MMA, of course, they're drawn to it because it's like fighting. You might not want to fight, but you enjoy fighting. And if you can fight safely, what would you think most people would do? They would go out there and they would fight safely. So when we look at that MMA component, but then we also let's look at the really crazy extreme things where in our industry, at one time, the traditional martial arts, what you guys did yesterday in that workout, when I kicked you up, and beat you up, and got in your face, how many people remember that being old school martial arts? Your instructor was in your face, drop down, give me 25, give me 100. Well, when you go to a gym, we also have a program in the gym called Lifetime Gym. It's one of the fastest growing family gyms. You should see what the trainer's doing to people. People want to get on a treadmill and go to 16 if they can. People want to be challenged. You dealing with a society with so much stress and pressure, people want to be challenged. They don't care about winning. It's like when they walk away, they want to feel like, whoa, I did it. Now I can take over the world. That stress doesn't matter anymore. But now they come to martial arts schools, that ain't happening no more. You're giving them belts easy. You tell them everybody win. You tell little Johnny, when that bully comes up to you, stand up, Johnny, you can take him. And Johnny's shooting out all these philosophical things, but his body doesn't represent. We all know that anything that deals with that positive body language. So when we talk about the Point MMA program, we talk about the fitness. What we're trying to do is ride off the momentum of CrossFit, ride off the momentum of MMA, ride off the momentum of the mud runs. All these things, we are black belts. When you think of black belt, what society used to look at a black belt as what? Superhuman. Am I right? Anybody, if I'm wrong, raise your hand. Am I correct or am I wrong? Everybody agree when you raise your hand. Black belt was superhuman. It was the ultimate goal. Now it's a joke. It's a joke. Go out there and ask anybody. It's like, and think about this. Let's ask ourselves a question. Can our students, most of those students that we see in the martial arts today, what would they do if they went up against a UFC guy? But that shouldn't be that way. When we think of old school Chuck Norris, Bill Wallace, all those people coming up that way. So it's like we used to be core. People came to us for all those things. We say we teaching character, we teaching discipline, but we know you cannot get character and discipline without being challenged. So is it false? Yes, it's false. We're telling this little kid, Johnny, you got confidence. But Johnny don't really believe he got confidence. Johnny's only doing it because you repeatedly say it over and over. Now when those people, come on, let's think about it. When somebody comes to your school right now, and I'm trying to stay on point here. When somebody comes to your school right now and they say, so What can you do? How can you help me grow? They going through the internet and they looking. And the parent looking, going through this, and then right now, what are they comparing it to? UFC. They comparing whatever you can do. It's not even about the fighting, because no parent wants their kid to go through that, but the fitness. UFC fighters, you know they're fit, they're strong, they're ready to go. You can see it in their body. They got a six-pack. Some of you martial artists got a six-pack. Now, I'm real. You take classes. You took classes with me. Martial artists shouldn't be smoking cigarettes. Certain things we shouldn't do. You read about an athlete, they can't drink. There's certain things they can't do. That's what Point MMA is trying to get back, promoting that element. So, what's so funny, when we talk about this momentum, I said, how can I do this? And I'm going to tell you a little story. Still waiting for my instructor to come here. I'm doing fine. I love martial arts so much, and I love sparring. I love freestyle sparring. There go my master right there. Everybody, Master Brown.
I'm late. I'm like you're in good hands, bro.
We were just starting with the first point of your Master Brown. So I'm gonna tell you a little story. I believe that the whole world should benefit from martial arts. I want my students to be able to play basketball, football. We're not in competition with those sports that you say we are. Because if you can bring in, if you working on sparring and you give a little kid a little dragon, because we don't just do Point MMA in our school, we do a lot of other programs. But when I take a little dragon, I give him a little basketball and I say, dribble the ball. I'm trying to take the ball. And when that little boy starts dribbling the ball, he starts identifying with mine. God, martial art class was good today. We did basketball, and now I can do that same drill on my basketball team. He don't realize I'm teaching him footwork to fight. So I'm trying to be amongst what the general public wants. I don't want to be against them. That's why UFC is growing. It's compatible to what everybody's looking at. So my little story is when I'm thinking about all this, I'm saying, man, I know this is big. I believe in this so much. But I can't tell my wife what I'm thinking about. I couldn't even tell you because you'll tell me I'm crazy. So I said, I'm going to try out for Shark Tank. I got 30 seconds. The guy said, you got 30 seconds. You got to go in there and try out for Shark Tank. Now, anybody know what we normally do? We just go crazy. We do all these, well, y'all know, y'all was in class, so we get crazy. But how can I get that energy across in 30 seconds? I had 30 seconds. I had to take my 7-year-old son, my oldest son, and a couple of students. So, I got to rehearse. I'm going to say it to you what I was saying, but that day I was pumped, man, and they gave me more than 30 seconds. I was pumped for 30. They said, oh, man, you got 3 minutes. I'm like, man, you messed up. Give me 30 seconds. But I ain't really said it loud, but it was like when I walked in my presentation, I said, hello, Sharks. My name is Willie the Bam Johnson, 7-time world champion, Black Belt Hall of Fame Instructor of the Year, and I'm here with my family and my students to introduce you, Sharks, to a new revolutionary program called Point MMA Crazy Athletics. Here to change the world. It's not just a business, it's a movement. Sharks, we are here to combat obesity, all things negative, with what? A new wholesome family approach to what? The world's fastest growing sport, Point MMA. Let me show you what we got, Sharks. So my students stepped up, sir, and said the student's creed. We did one technique. And if you watch the video that I gave you, they were they were lost. They were stumbling for the answers that asked me about business. And what was so crazy, before we even did the audition, they asked us to come out and do a separate audition in the back. Why? Because if you see our Point MMA gear, they said, oh my God, this is incredible. Let's put this on in the intro for the new season. So we went to Shark Tank when everybody said it wouldn't work, and we blew their minds. And you know what? You took the class, we only did one of everything I did with you. Now, if you can overwhelm mainstream America with an element like that, what we want to do, I think the whole world should benefit from traditional martial arts. I'm a parent. My kids need to say sir, ma'am, all those things. My little son needs to stand up strong. I don't want him to follow another culture. I want him to be a part of, what is it? The traditional martial arts culture that I come from. So that little story was like, when I finally told my wife what I did, she was like in tears, oh my God, you really made it? 7 days later, they said, you know what, we're going to contact you in 7 days if you made it. I'm trying to act like it really doesn't matter. You can imagine that. I'm trying to just let it go, act like it doesn't matter. I'm in the school working. And then finally my wife get an email that says, you will be on season 6, Shark Tank. I just went crazy. And I say that with emotion because this is not for me, this is for us. Anybody that loves martial arts, I'm talking traditional martial arts. I'm not talking about, and we always did MMA. We just didn't lock people up. We always did that. My instructor taught me that. My instructor fought in the back alleys, all that stuff. Everybody that's a real martial artist did. What is MMA? It ain't nothing but freestyle sparring, right or wrong. It's just that when we went to the ground, we stopped. So what we did this for you guys. What we're trying to do is take everybody along for the ride so we can go back, and as my instructor said, I'll let him speak. Don't be surprised. You've seen Anthony Pettis. He's an ATA, traditional Taekwondo stylist. He won the championship with point fighting. He just told you that. He said, my mom said, I can't get hit with no elbows and knees. So she wouldn't let me do the real stuff. But I've been so into the extreme martial arts and the Taekwondo, and as Frank Shamrock said, I can make a gymnast a great MMA fighter. Because you don't have to fight. You just got to be technically correct. Now I'm going back to you. How many schools got students that are technically correct? That can throw a real side kick, a real reverse punch. Out of the 100% of schools right now, be honest, how many of them are really technically correct? 10%? 90%? Is it 90? Come on.
No, 10%.
All right, see, we all agree. What can we do to correct the problem? That's what Point MMA is. Master Brown, we're just talking about the 10 points.
Can I borrow your speech to give that to make that presentation for my superintendent?
You're funny, man. So we just talking about the momentum, the first point.
Yeah. Well, my involvement was, I think Bam actually came to my school because I do the Capital Classics tournament. He said, we gotta put this MMA in the Capital Classics because it's just growing, it's big, and your point tournament's okay, but we've got to get some of the stuff. Everybody's doing this, and I said, well, the truth of it is the reason I didn't put it in because I was scared to death of the boxing commission. I don't know about you guys in your towns, but in Washington D.C., you do not want to have to deal with the boxing commission. First of all, they're going to give you the blues, and then they're going to take everything you got, and they just make it hard for you. I said, I really want to do it. And he said, well, how could we make this happen? I said, well, if you could do the stand-up and kind of make it points, you can do all the fighting and stuff, but you got to make it points. And if you go to the ground, you can do all the mounts, the grab, the pound, you can do everything, but you got to do it with points. You got to give them a point for the hold, or a point for the mount, or a point. If we could just make it, I think it was no knockout, no tap out. If we could just make it point MMA. And I talked to the guy from Baltimore. What was his name? I can't say Rollo.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
He said, if it ain't knockout, it ain't MMA. Because he had also come to me about putting it in an event. I said, you're right. But how can we incorporate it? Within a day, he got it. He came back and said, yeah, there's no reason we can't do it. We can't do all the techniques, but we just have to incorporate it into points. I explained it to my students and found out they all wanted to do it. Only about 10% really wanted to take the banging, that really wanted to get hit. We had a hardcore group of guys that wanted to bang, and their thing is like, if you don't bring that in, and we have that for them. But for the other guys that just wanted to come into Weekend Warriors, they said, this is something where I can kind of learn it, but you're not going to knock me out. And they kind of got eased into it. So when he came out with it, I looked at it and said, you may have something there. You may have something that schools, the traditional schools, can buy into. They can follow you into this. And then those that want to take it to the next level, they're ready for that also. So that was kind of my involvement, and then he just got burning hot with it. And he was calling me every week and said, we're taking to this level. Next thing you know, there was shirts, there was gear, there was hats, there was people, and then there was Shark Tank. And I'm saying, somebody's going to get this boy $1 million to blow this thing up. And I'm going to be in the back curtain, behind the curtain, doing like this. But I think it's a great idea if you can see the vision. I think it's going to be more than what you have here. I think that we haven't seen the height that it can go to, because I believe it's something that everybody wants to do. A lot of traditionalists want to kind of take their schools to that next level, but they also want to stay kind of traditional, so it meets a niche in there.
And I think I've been raised in E.F.C with my instructor since I was 17 years old. So one day when I remember we used to say, you will never see a picture of somebody throwing a sidekick to a throat. All the pictures you see in ads now, the industry said we would never see those pictures advertised to the general public. And I'm like, hold up, something wrong here. If we, in order to survive, gotta lose the authenticity of our tradition to go with what we said would never happen in order to survive, something's wrong. I love traditional. Traditional is not impractical. Traditional is practical. It's all back to the basics. It's just when you got a good instructor, a good teacher, and you stay around long enough, you can take it. Come on, was Bruce Lee really freestyle? He Wing Chun. And he built on Wing Chun. He can always say it's Jeet Kune Do, but it's really Wing Chun. So all the things that we say now, look, even when we look at Anthony Pettis once again, you look at all the UFC, when you see a person throw a spinning wheel kick, and he said, whoa, we've never seen such a kick, a spinning wheel kick. Where did that come from? And you as a martial artist say, hold up, man. Or then you say Superman punch, and then you got Billy Blank saying, boom. That come from point fight. That don't come from no UFC. So now you can be an imitator, or you can go back to the original core of what's happening, and we can give our students the core element of what black belt is. We can no longer, you can hate me all you want, we can no longer be giving people black belts without them knowing how to spar. It is a disgrace to the martial arts. Because a good fighter is a good forms person. A good forms person, a good weapons person. And you should be able to trick. You should be a complete martial artist. You don't have to be a master at all of them, but you should be good at every last one of them. Where a mommy can sit in that audience. Let's think about it. How many mommies saying, for some reason we didn't kind of like what the psychiatrists do. They swing that little pendulum. And after a while, you start believing that what that guy telling you is true. Let's be for real. You can look at a school and you're like, that student's not really good. If I took a kid that got a little heart and went up to him and bullied him, what's going to really happen to that kid? I got a little 7-year-old baby. I'm so proud that he in tournament trying to do a Superman punch. He ain't got to win. But when he went over and said, Daddy, that was awesome. I don't care about winning. I know that when he goes out and he goes to school, and I'm seeing it now as a parent, I'm seeing him being able to stand up. A bully said this to me, Daddy, but I said this back. And I know he ain't really hard. He might act like, yeah, I'm cool, Dad. He's suburban. He ain't no cool. I don't want to go close to where I'm at. But the ability to be able to roll around on the floor, I don't think kids should be doing submission techniques. It's like giving them a gun and say, spin the wheel. I don't care what nobody say. Kids, my instructor, we never taught little kids chinas and deadly martial art techniques that we teach them now. What are we doing? We trying to make up for curriculum that we don't have, so we put something there. Let's be real. I mean, you can hate me, but I love martial arts, and that's what my instructor taught me. I will never teach a kid street combat. I will never teach a kid an armbar. We can play around with it, but that kid he doesn't have that sort of control. His emotions are not right. Let him be a kid and enjoy the process of being a good martial artist, and one day he can become like all of us, because we had a chance to enjoy it. So then we can make sparring a good round kick, boom. They should be able to do it like a kid playing football. Baseball, he really want to swing the bat. They should really want to know how to do a good side kick. Come on, you see people doing side kicks, the foot's not even turned. Point MMA is our curriculum. It blends together Kung Fu, karate, all the techniques. Some of the techniques called the Billy Blanks cartwheel kick. The Chuck Norris this. The Bill Wallace that. The reason why they love MMA, because we have no history here. We need to go back and remember the history. If it wasn't for sports karate, we would not have martial arts that we know right now today. Anybody agree with me? Are we correct?
You're right, sir.
So now that's what we want to bring back to our schools. We have a curriculum that takes you from intro to black belt. In our school, none of this stuff comes from me. My instructor said I created it. This comes from my teacher. He taught it to me. And when you got a good teacher, he frees you to evolve beyond him. Not so much beyond him, but to enhance the curriculum. This is what my instructor always said. We done did full contact. We done did freestyle. We did all types of competition. So it's my duty to structure something so we can teach it to the children. So in our school, how many people do 2 classes at the same time? We know in order to grow, you to really keep up. I hate it, because you got one, especially if you're traditional, it's like, hold up, man. If he over there playing music back there and I'm trying to go, he's messing up my flow. 1 class, but then I look at the account receivables, behold, it's just dropped. So, it got to be a little of that too. It ain't all just, the technique stuff. So it's like, okay, let's do 2 classes. So every day, because my wife, who's the real boss, she said, you better do 2 classes every day. So guess what? While the kids are doing point MMA and having fun, imagine you got them doing real good technique and you got a little flag on the back of them. A little kid trying to grab him, but he ain't got to take him down. He's going to pull the flag off. The other kid doing footwork. It's like, whoa, that's what we talking about. That's the energy of the class. But guess what? While that class is going on, you got the parents over there doing what I took you guys through yesterday. You going to tell me that a mom don't want to be pushed? Go to the gym. The gym, the fitness industry is built up by the same moms that's sitting over there on the side and you saying they can't do martial arts. They can do more cardio than the average guy.
Yeah, they can.
Right there, Terrell?
They got more air, I think.
They got more air. They want to be challenged. So what we do, we got the way the system works out, we got the point MMA, all sparring. Katas, it stays in tune to the traditional categories. Katas, self-defense, sparring, and testing, because they do get belts in there. So while the kids over there doing point MMA, we got the moms over there doing crazy calisthenics, and they get crazy. They get crazy. They be, whoa! I mean, Mr. PK, he represents the AAU. He's here. Let's give him a welcome here. Because he's trying to make point MMA an AAU sport along with the crazy calisthenics, which will be big for our industry. So, we thank you for that. But to get back, so you got the parents over there. The parents are going crazy. The kids are over here. And when the class is over, guess what? They go out. And then the dads come in and we got something for the dads. Of course, a dad don't want to do no MMA. He ain't trying to spar. But we do have a self-defense component, which is called street combat. But it all goes back to what? The family. We give the family exactly what they need. The kids don't want combat. They want athleticism. The moms just want fitness. And every now and then, most of the moms that compete in our tournament, guess what? Most of the women that won the world championships at my instructors' tournaments are regular moms. But hold up. They shouldn't be doing this. But once you begin to implement the program and you get them doing what you guys doing, once again, raise your hand that was in that class. When I was in your face and you was throwing up, did you want to quit?
No, sir.
How did you feel when it was over?
Tired.
But did you feel emotionally good?
Felt great.
When I was in your face and you just felt like you just wanted to let it go, did I make you just keep pushing it forward?
Sir.
How was that energy in that room? Did it feel like it was love? That's how your dojo should be. You come to my school, I will never show you a lack of energy. And that's what this program is allowing us to do. Yeah, I know we traditional, but we do have music that goes along with it. I don't think no class should be going without music. So we got little music, and there's a difference between tricking music and fighting music, if you know how to fight. The beats are totally different. Tricking music, you can't be doing cardio. You gotta have a little swagger. So we create beats specifically to allow a person to move. Really watch. When we really transcend to that real black belt, everybody got that. Am I correct, Master Brown?
That's what I see. I'm just here for that.
So that's what we do. With the whole curriculum, it's for the moms, it's for the dads, it's for the kids. We even do it as young as 3.5 years old. Anybody seen our little point of equipment, the little gloves? They say, y'all got little teeny kids doing it? Yep. We got the the battle ropes. We do battle ropes with the kids. We got a whole battle rope program coming out with Mr. Jeff Bowe. Everybody wants this. What I want, what is it? Beachbody. This is how big this MMA is. When Beachbody now released a program called MMA Combat, it's telling you need to get on the bandwagon. I'm looking outside our industry because I want to grow what the consumer wants. I don't want the sale to be hard. I want it to be easy. When the mom's talking, I want to relate to her. So what you did with us yesterday, when your student goes and turn on insanity, whoa, we do that. You got to come. Forget insanity. We had a press conference come to class one time, she say, this ain't insanity, this crazy. That's why we call it crazy. That's what it was yesterday, it's crazy. But it's fun, it's exciting. And then when we do our Kung Fu, guess what? It's traditional and it's slowed down and it's cool. But it makes us have a complete system in our school, a complete martial arts program. That's what this thing allows us to do. And once again, it's fighting only, sparring only. You get, like Anthony Pettis said, with the good technique, you can go into the ring. You can go and do whatever you want to do. But right now, we got to get back to cleaning up the classical mess, and this curriculum allows us to be able to do it. That's why you have something you want to add there?
You're doing great.
You mentioned the music. Do you provide music?
Oh yeah, I love music. Anybody know I used to compete?
If you can
Oh no, you ain't got to worry about music. I can go get a CD for you now. Y'all like my music yesterday? Who liked the music yesterday? Raise your hand. Woo, woo, woo. There you go, yeah.
He's a beat master.
And what I find out too, when you teach in the class, you come out of school, person came in having a hard day, and you put on the Temptations, they like, woo, that's my song. And the person start, it's the music. I love working out. I'm in the gym every day, 3 o'clock in the morning. That's my life. I love working out. I eat it, I breathe it, because I love martial arts so much. But sometimes it's my opponent may wear that's going to make me give a little extra thing. Someday it's going to be my new ring stars. It's going to make me give it an extra thing. Someday it's going to be the new mix that's in my earphones. It's going to give me a little extra thing. Someday it's going to be because I want to get it in. But how many times do I really want to get it in? Not many. So these all are motivational factors that the consumer is looking at. That's why in the fitness industry, you see a woman coming in, gyms are open 24 hours a day. Now, you can go to the gym any time of the day. And you think people think I'm crazy 3 o'clock in the morning. Man, my gym is one of the biggest gyms in the country. You go there, it's like it gotta be like 100 cars, 2 o'clock in the morning. There is no excuse to work out now. So we see the fitness industry saying this, that people want to get up, they want to work out, and they're adjusting to what the people want. That's what we did with this. I'm trying to get the people what they want. Because I think with the economy, the reason why our schools are suffering, we're trying to force on them what we used to force on the general public before. Come in, do this, do that. They can put on the internet and choose somebody else. Well, this guy, he's a little too hard on me. Let me go down here. Let me check this person. And then I truly believe, I'm not being offensive, all those false advertisements that we have up on our wall, people checking the internet, so let me see his YouTube channel. Parents come in now and do an intro, they say, well, this ain't not a belt factory, is it? You don't just give them belts. And we are a school, how do you take a person to a test? You trying to help Johnny, and the dad complains like, why did he get that belt? He shouldn't really get that belt. He wasn't really good. He couldn't do that push-up. So now we got to find a happy medium. And I think this is what's allowing us to be able to do that. Master Brown, would you?
Again, like I said, I think that it kind of brings the two worlds together. It seems like there was a split for a while. There was the guys that were doing street combat, real martial arts, and then these traditional guys that's been fooling themselves for years. I think there's a happy medium in between. Very traditional guys say, I don't do that stuff. That's not real martial arts. It's just brawling. And you got the guys over here looking, saying, yeah, but these are forms and weapons classes. You got to teach people how to fight. Somewhere there's got to be that middle ground, because everybody who comes in, I love to watch boxing. I love to see, I used to watch Tyson just beat people bloody. But I very seldom ever watched it and said, man, I got to get home and get my kid into that. I got to tell him right to get in the ring. But I understood that it was the real deal. But is there a happy medium where folks can work? Everybody that wants to get in the gym and actually box, we realized didn't want to get in the ring and actually get knocked out. So in martial arts, it was either the extreme. Either you had to do this, or there are a lot of schools that have taken real fighting out of their schools. We don't fight until they're blue belts. We don't fight until they're orange belts. We don't fight until, we don't really allow any hitting at all. I think at a certain point you've got to find that medium where you bring it back. And I think this is when I heard him talking about it, I said, this might be it. I mean, we can't go from just children's factories giving away belts. And it is good for the discipline and the concentration, the focus. But then we started losing the market to folks that are saying, yeah, but at some point are we teaching really street combat? The market for that, again, there's a few guys that want to do what Tyson does, but most people want to get in the gym and hit the bag. And I think that allows them to hit the bag.
And the other thing, don't think we call BAM's Family Kung Fu Center, so it's not called BAM's Point MMA Center. It's just something that I know it helped us through the recession. I realized people, wasn't really doing the Kung Fu. And then the flip side of it, the people that weren't really good with the fighting in Kung Fu because they didn't want to fight, this allowed me to reverse the psychology. So you weak on sparring, but we got a fight only class on, Thursday and whatever it may be. Everything that we do, there is a curriculum. We have a handbook. This is the bread and butter of our school. Point of view, we meditate, we do all that. We have specific uniforms for every class. There's Kung Fu uniforms because we're a traditional Kung Fu school. There's kickboxing uniforms for all the kickboxing, and they get belts. There's street combat uniforms, and they get belts. There's point MMA uniforms, and they get belts. So everything has a specific avenue of itself and an opportunity to brand, because I believe the one thing, too, that really helped with the Shark Tank was how we were dressed. It was our brand. How do we promote that brand? And working with Damon John and a couple of people, they really helped me to understand it a lot more. And one of the people that really helps us with that. Now, everybody heard of Bow Look before?
Yeah.
Nice look, nice company?
Yeah.
You ever meet the person that used to work at Bow Look? Because he was a real rude guy, man. The president, if you ever see the president of Bow Look, let me know. Because I'm a point MMA hand. Oh, there you go, right there.
Thank you, sir.
This is Mr. Jeff Bow, who used to be the president of Bow Look. And since we've been working together with all this stuff, this is my family. He believes in what we're doing, and he's really helping us springboard this forward. And he's going to talk a little bit more. What were we talking about the branding, Mr. Jeff?
Thank you, sir. Hi, I'm Jeff Bold, and I am Professor Bam's partner with Point MMA. I do all of the branding, all of the product, all the manufacturing. And you know what, as I sit back and watch this event and see groups come through, I mean, you see the guys from SOS, everyone is in the same uniform, branded very nicely. And when you go into karate schools, I travel the country a lot for work, and I spend a lot of time. I go into every CrossFit gym, I go into every martial arts school, I go into every dance studio, because I just like to see how people run and operate. And there is nothing that I hate worse than when I walk into a gym or a health club and I don't know who to talk to, because everyone's wearing the same stuff. Nobody looks uniform. Now, martial arts schools in general, everyone's wearing a uniform, so you can kind of pick out the instructors and the staff. But in a lot of other industries, that isn't common. And branding of your school and of your brand, because you are your brand. When someone signs up at your school, they're signing up because of you. Because the truth is, there's a guy 2 blocks that way, and 2 blocks that way, and 3 blocks that way. And the price is probably about the same everywhere, and the workout is probably about the same everywhere. And so when you go someplace, you're going because of that person. And so the brand that we convey with Point MMA is everyone is uniform. When you see one of our events, everyone is wearing all Point MMA. And the reason why that's great for you guys is it's a tremendous retail stream for your schools. Like Professor Bam said, when he teaches his Kung Fu class, everyone wears a Kung Fu uniform. When they do sparring, everyone uses the sparring gear. When they do street combat, everyone wears street combat. When they do Point MMA, everyone buys new Point MMA gear. No one's wearing their macho gear or Asian world gear to do Point MMA. They wear Point MMA gear. We make it mandatory at every event that in order to compete in Point MMA, you have to wear all of our equipment, because it gives a clean brand image. So that when people from the outside are looking, wow, look at that. Everyone looks the same. Everyone is uniform. Everyone's wearing the same gear. There is no advantage. This guy's got this guy's got this. Everyone is on an equal playing field. And so for you guys as school owners, it's great because you say we're offering a new curriculum that supplements whatever you're doing. By no means are we saying you can't teach Taekwondo, you have to teach Point MMA. You can't teach Kung Fu, you have to teach Point MMA. What Professor Bam does is Point MMA is his sparring curriculum, but he teaches Kung Fu with it. So if you guys are traditional Okinawan style schools, that's great. You have your uniform for that. And then you know what? At 5 to 6 is Point MMA. Everybody go get changed, put on your Point MMA gear. When you sign up for the class, this is your kit. You get your boxing glove, your MMA glove, your headgear, your shin guards, whatever you include in your kit. And that's it. And you make it very clean and simple. Everything is on the website. If you guys go on there, you can see all of the product. But when you become a licensee, that's something that we demand, is that you enforce that all of your students, when they take your class for Point MMA, they wear the Point MMA gear. And everything is turnkey. So if the glove's 20, you sell them for 40. If the headgear's 25, you sell it for 50. So you're doubling your money on everything that you do, and it's a very, very simple thing. The other thing that go ahead.
How many of you guys have a, when I say a house, I mean your school, where you allow people to wear other stuff other than your brand?
That's
Does
good.
anybody allow you to, does any of you guys allow someone to come in with gear that's not your name on it? Can they buy other
That's
stuff?
Not often, it's even in my contract that they're supposed to wear it, but, you know, sometimes they get a deal online or something like that, guys already spent the money, so it's.
Yeah.
I'll let-
Yeah, well, I mean, same thing, we sell all the gear there, but like when their shin guards wear out and maybe they found a deal online right when they wore out and they bring them in, we don't fuss about it. But if it's not something that is comparable to what we have, I'll tell them straight up that it's not okay to wear that.
Yeah, because it's a revenue stream that you're missing. Good, I see most people that finally got on it.
Yeah.
4 years ago, you know, they went online and bought from whoever that was out there. And you can't do that anywhere else. You go to McDonald's, you can't buy Pepsi. You gotta get Coke. If you go to E.F.C theater, they only sell Coke products. They don't say, nobody says, well, we're this house. And it took a lot of us a long time to realize that you can look at them and say, in my school, that's very nice stuff. But you're in my school now, you have to get my stuff. And the pitch on it is simply that may be great stuff, but I've checked this out. I know that it's safe, I know it lasts, I know this, I know that, and so therefore you can only wear that in my house. Now the only time we do that, we do it sometime if somebody comes in for somebody else's school and the mom has bought all of that stuff, it's white, and all our guys are sitting there with the black gear, he can wear it. But it generally takes about a week before the kid looks around like, I'm the only guy here with the bones on mine. I want to get your stuff. So anybody who's not doing that, this is just but again, what I think you guys are taking it to another level, it's not just one uniform that you wear for everything. If you're going to spar, you have a uniform. If you're going to do forms, you have a uniform. If you're going to do this, you have a uniform. And folks may be in one school and they have 5 or 6 different workout outfits.
And you know what's interesting? I'm a student. He used to tell me to do all what I'm telling you now, and I wouldn't do it. Now my whole handbook is what he taught me. So it ain't like I'm doing anything new. He used to tell me, make him wear equipment. I'm like, nah, I ain't wearing equipment. I'm a tournament champ. I want to wear what I want to wear. I didn't tell him that during that time. I'll get myself in trouble there. You know, but in our handbook, when you join our school, this is our handbook. It says, must wear our equipment. If you walk into our school, he's seen it, and I get mad. Oh boy, they got to get me out the way. I'm like, where that equipment come from? How they got UFC in here? You better get it out there, get it all out. And what ends up happening, the beautiful thing about this too, when I went to open my own school and I had $20, guess what? I went to a community center called Friendly's Aquatic Center. In 3 months, I got 100 students. And I went and opened up the school that I own right now. After 20 years, I own the building. Guess how I got that school? I was charging $30 a month, but I was charging $250 for the whole equipment kit. That allowed me the money, the revenue stream that my instructor said, I don't know about you, I mean, sometimes that part of the money allows me to make payroll. Why they ain't got to mess with my E.F.C? There's a whole new, and I ain't promoting money, but I don't know about you, man. That's like a nice piece of residual income over there.
You're telling me that if I was playing for Dallas, but I got cut, went to the Redskins, I can't take my gear over there?
Oh, no. Yeah. You gonna get beat up.
I already got this stuff. I can't bring it from other team? No, you in my house now. You got to put on my, that's all I'm saying. Sometimes you have to, it sounds crazy, but you can't play for my team. You can't be at my school wearing, I still got guys from Mr. Kim's place up the street. Can I just wear it till it runs out? No. You can't wear his gear in my place. Once they understand it, it's another, again, amazing revenue stream.
And it's funny, I don't know about you, when I come to class, I match. I like sweat. I like my belt to be a certain way. I like my shoes to be a certain way. I like my t-shirts to be a certain way. Everything we do got something where a kid, when you walk to school, he can match it with his little, I don't know about you, but how many kids really include your t-shirt with their new Jordans going to school? How many of you got to really force them to wear your but come on, now let's take a step back. Let's look at some of the does it really look like something you would go out and like you put on a Michael Jordan jersey and you would represent that up and down the street? Most of the stuff don't, but everything in UFC do. Somebody told me Dana White was the smartest guy you ever met when it came down to branding. Why? You will never see nobody wearing nothing that doesn't say UFC. Everything, I don't care, it can be a toothpick. He gonna find a way to what? Put UFC on it. And that's what we're trying to do as an industry, to create a united front Because even from making the sport aspect grow, why we talking traditional martial arts? Why won't Pepsi come in and sponsor the sport? It's confusing. You look at it, what is going on here? One time, Budweiser and all those people was in it. If you can get mainstream people to come into traditional martial arts and bring everything together like AAU and all that stuff, come on, man. You wouldn't even have to force the parent to want to join your school. It'll be like they going to a gym. It'll be a natural thing. And you got to believe it. Nobody believed that UFC would be as big as it is right now. Nobody. I didn't believe that I would have a school right now. I didn't believe I would be on the star of one of the best TV shows in the world, starring with the best people on the planet, Shannon Lee. But guess what? I did. And that's what we got to do as an industry. We got to believe that we can bring the traditional martial arts forward with a what? A modern approach. And this is our concept. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, no, I wanted to go back 1 second. You know, like I said, I have been in a million karate schools, and I have not seen many that run like his school. You know, I was an instructor. I come from a school where it was kids class at 3, kids class at 4, kids class at 5, teen class at 6, adults class at 7, and we had, you know, a couple hundred kids and 10 adults. And it was, oh, well, you know, my kid's at home and I have to do this. And when I walked into his school and I see the parents and the kids at the same time, I'm like, that is genius. Because the parent can't say it's inconvenient. I don't have time to make it. You know, it's like, no, your kid is right there. Instead of you sitting in this chair, you're going to work out right there. And then in 45 minutes, you're both done and you leave. And I don't know why that, I mean, I'd never seen that before, honestly. And I've been in a lot of schools. And that concept to me was so awesome because it takes away every rebuttal that every parent could ever have for why they can't bring their kid to class, why they can't work out. It's, oh no, well, I can come to adult class at 8. Okay, great, bring your kid. They'll do a class at the same time. Or I can bring my kid at 3. Okay, great. Well, your class will be at 3. And you know, like his school is balanced between adults and kids, which again, as far as I know, in our industry is very unusual. You know, it's usually very kids heavy and very adult thin, and especially teens. And just offering that kind of class where it's high energy and it's cardio driven and it's a great workout, and the parents and the kids are doing it at the same time. I mean, it's such a great concept.
And one thing, he's pretty humble. He might be talking, y'all know him from Bulldog, but everybody know in E.F.C. there was one school, it was the first school to have over 500 students. What school was that?
Roll Mary.
Before him,
United.
Greg Silver. Greg Silver, and he used to do that. He used to be the instructor that ran that school. Bold Look was established from that whole core element, and he was behind all of that. So he's not just he is a black belt. He was on the team when they were competing all over the country and killing everybody in competition. So he do bring more than just he don't say that. I have to get him to like, come on, man, you're a black belt. Pull that belt out the closet and get working. So he back in to work it out and all that stuff. So his passion keeps our passion going, and I think that's what everybody see. It's passion. I want to carry on my instructor's legacy. People don't have to like what I say. I do. My instructor was one of the best fighters, best forms people, you know, in the country. It would be a disservice to my instructor and to the martial arts of Billy Blanks and all those people that saved my life to not bring about something that can help the next generation to be a guy like me. If a guy like me can be right here talking to you, and he never gave up on it, that's going to make me, ooh, always do that.
All right, that's all right. That's all right.
That's what real teaching is all about. If you really care about that kid, give him a tool that's going to help him when you ain't nowhere around. When peer pressure is really cranking down on him, and he can't call nobody, he got to figure out by himself. And that's what we got to do. All that other stuff is a byproduct, and that's what we're trying to do here. And I believe and I know we're going to do it. I bet my heart that it's going to do it because I see it happening with my kids. And he did it for me. And if I can get this man to leave his dad's company, to believe in this dream, to go along with us, quitting's not an option, man. No. So, and if you don't believe in it, come and see some of the competitions. We got, when you watch the video, you'll see my son in action. I believe if you're instructing somebody coming to your class, I mean, how many people ever taught an intro and the guy came in and you can sense that he's challenging you? He can sense that you really can't fight. I know a lot of in my school, this is like funny because I know a lot of young guys, we have young guys teach to run the class, and a lot of times because you're in that setting, you don't believe that a guy like me who don't like martial arts or who came from the street will come in and challenge you. Because you're so protected in your environment. You so protected that you don't realize that them people, them parents that are coming in, they choosing to respect you. But what about the cat that comes in and say, yeah, so what's up? I can fight. I don't care nothing about your black belt. Because we realize that even black belt is important, but until you go beyond the belt and into the philosophy and the lifestyle, my instructors say black belt is a way of life. It's not just about fighting, it's what you eating, what you thinking, how you feeling, how you treating other people. Once you transcend to that, you'll never have to fight. And you'll be able to bring a person along, because I don't believe you have to be combative. But you know how to fight, and the only way you can do that, anybody, a good fighter can sense. Anybody used to, if you go to a tournament, and that's why it's going to be so incredible next year when you get a chance to come to the Capital Classics. And you get a chance, you're around here thinking you really know something, but wait till you watch on that stage and you see, hold up, I've been faking tricking. I've been faking sparring. That's what now, what is it going to do for our students? I want to be like that. I really want to spar. I ain't got to win, but I want to be able to hold my own. That's what martial arts is supposed to be about. And I believe that all those people that come along with it, we're going to make it that way. We're going to bring it back to that core value where we're not going to be saying, oh, and it's funny, and I say this in closing, when one of the world's greatest fighters said we don't teach sparring anymore, you don't teach sparring anymore. Just look at yourself in the mirror and say that. How many of us, could we all put on sparring equipment, come out, and let's spar, baby? Let's go, let's work. And I hit you with the best blow, and you're like, whoa, let's go. How many people in here, how many people got black belts that can enjoy that moment? Most people don't.
I don't.
You got to enjoy the hit. You got to enjoy the flow. Let's go, baby, let's get busy. That's what martial arts used to be, and that's what it's going back to. Guaranteed.
Yeah, and I think that what's important about that is that there are a lot of folks. I've been with E.F.C. for 34 years, and I watched it go from a fighting deal where everybody rumbled to fighting kind of drives people out of schools. Stretching kind of makes them want to quit. Don't work them too hard. So we go after the schools, you know, we give them belts for good grades, and all of that. All of the stuff we're doing is important. But somewhere along the line, we lost our core. Mm-hmm. And even at the national tournaments, it turned into, and I give a 6A NASCAR tournament. And we even at some point looked at it and said, they're right over there. This is just tag. Guys wearing extra long gloves so they can just tap you and get a point. Or they wear foot gear 2 sizes too big so they can tap you and get a point. And all of a sudden, the guys that were running these things used to be real fighters. And they're saying, well, we got a lot of people out here fighting, but very little fighting's going on. And so we looked over and saw there's folks that are going back and I don't want to do that. I want to actually fight. And there's a whole generation of folks that came up under point martial arts. And again, I run one of the biggest point open tournaments there is. Point martial arts that never fought, never really hit anybody. And now they're running a school and they're teaching somebody else. And then that guy's teaching somebody, and there's nobody in that lineage that actually has ever been hit upside the head. And I think at a certain point you're starting to see that turn back. Because now my event, we've got grappling, we've got point MMA, we've got extreme fighting. What is that? That's point fighting, but you have to really hit. Billy Blanks hadn't been to a tournament, I think, since he started doing Taibo. He showed up last year, and he was appalled. He said, I don't come to this stuff anymore, because we used to actually hit people. He came to sign autographs. Next thing I know, he was on the stage. He said, oh no, the extreme point stuff, I'll do that. I said, Billy, don't fight. He said, because back when I came up, you could actually hit. And we came out and your guys did the point MMA and said, there's point fighting. But these guys were hitting hard, not knocking out, but you had to hit. And I realized that was the happy medium. They want you to be able to hit, but again, the truth, the attorney who's got to be in court Monday morning, he can't keep going in every day with the big eye. He can't go with the lip. He likes to rumble, but he knows that he can't show up for court, or the doctor can't show up beat up for so often. So he goes into something that's but you're looking for, again, for that happy medium. And I will tell you that when they did the fight at the Classics last year, it was the highlight of the deal. I mean, it was a little bit banging, but a lot of guys were sitting back going, we got to get rid of the tag. And so I hear them right now, they're trying to change the rules. You got to hit. You can't be doing this touch thing anymore. And I think it's healthy, because I said, guys, you're losing a whole generation of folks that are moving away from it. So to me, Point MMA is taking advantage of the brand MMA. It's also talking about points. But basically what you're saying to me is that when we came up, everybody grappled. In the Chinese styles, we called it Sui Jiao. It was Kung Lee and those guys, they used to do the sand show, and you had to do we always grappled. Somewhere along the point, it all got lost. And you know, every time somebody clashed, went to the ground, somebody jumped in and said, break. And if you hit somebody, they went, what's wrong with you? That's dirty fighting. Ain't no dirty fighting in martial arts. At what point did we say you can't? If you hit the ground, you were looking up. So we kind of lost that. If anybody who's been here since the 60s, you know, everybody fought on the ground. Up in New York, he talks about up there. When I fought up there, everybody went there. You could get stomped while you were on the ground, in the throat. I mean, it was always that. With Paul Biggio and those guys, we all fought like that. But somewhere along the line, it got lost, where it turned into just tag. And I think there's got to be that turn back. But you got a whole generation of people who grew up doing nothing but points. Their instructors did nothing but point. But I don't want to call it tag, but they did tag. And their instructors for them did tag. They want to come back and do a more serious martial arts, but they don't want to go all the way over there because I can't do that. Yeah, I've never really been hit. And I think that what you're doing, the reason it's so appealing is because folks look at it saying, I can do what I do, and yet take it to the next level. Because again, I don't want folks in the school get knocked out. I don't know. Right now, I heard on the TV the other day, the people are getting afraid, not just our industry. This morning they said something about the youth football has dropped in half, the number of kids that are coming into kids football. Football for youth, not adults. Because somebody said something about concussions. My fear is that at some point, some parent is going to say something about joints or something about locks, and then all of a sudden you find yourself, where is that happy medium in between? So it hasn't happened yet, but football is talking about people are afraid to put their kids in it's the American sport. I know baseball is supposed to be, but we're talking football. How are we afraid to play ball? So I think there has to be that happy medium, and when I saw this, it's like we can go ahead and bang, we can go ahead and hit, but only probably one guy in 10 really wants to fight to the knockout. You know, he wants to fight, but I don't really want to be knocked out. And we're not just getting the guys that want to do this as a profession, because you don't worry about it. I've quit the job. I'm not at McDonald's no more. I'm doing this full time. Okay, that's a different dog. We're talking about the professional attorneys. We're talking about people with real jobs that have to go to work every day, but they still enjoy the combat sport. There's got to be something for them, and I think this may well be the answer.
And the one thing too about when we say about those guys who just want to be in the gym, I don't want them guys in my school. I don't want the guy in the school that want to be a real professional UFC fighter. I want the little kid who just want to like do it while he's going through school and go off and become, you know, a lawyer or a doctor. Well, I want that little kid that came up and he got his black belt and he might want to go in there. And that's the beautiful thing that we show you. How many kids, as us as school owners, how many people amongst you probably want to be a champion or want to go into movies or want to do something else? Has there ever been a path where we can show them how to brand themselves so this can truly become a career for them? We bring all that in because we are living examples of how does that kid, at one time, how did Billy Blanks go to Tyrell? How did Billy Blanks go to movies? How did Chuck Norris go there? But there's a bunch of youth amongst you that want to do something other than just be in your school teaching class. How can you enhance what they want to do at the same time coming to their 9 to 5 and keep doing all that? So we're trying, once again, I'm just trying to bring for my reasons. It's funny how things work. My reasons for leaving my instructor because I wanted to be in movies and wanted to be a world champion. Now I realize that I shouldn't have ever left. It would have been a lot easier. So now how can I bring that back and so we can prevent that from happening? Questions at this minute, go ahead.
Yes, sir. I was just curious for the curriculum part from white to black. What is the time frame that it takes to go, and how many belts are there in your system?
Same. Was 4 belts at white belt? At beginning level, right? Most people have that.
Right. Yeah.
4 belts at intermediate level, right? And if you have an intermediate level,
time span from white to black.
it should be 3. Most people 3 months. Is it like
3 months? Yeah.
same thing? The same E.F.C. system. That's how it's set up. The same amount of time, same belt structure. We try to keep the same belt colors. all that, but you can use whatever color you want, but it is that 90-day time. Yep, the same system, 24 classes, 2 classes a week. You ain't got to recreate the wheel. I just want it to be just what you already do, easy to implement and keep it moving.
One question: do all of your students who do traditional kung fu, do they all do point MMA as well?
We do now. I mean, we could take out the ground. It's still point fighting or freestyle sparring, but I thought it would be easier because that's what everybody's seeing. And it became, we tried to do it like point fighting this, but it became confusing. So just put it in, man. So yeah.
Do you give that option for students who maybe are not interested in one part of the style, but they just want to come in and do the point MMA? Do you give that option?
We have a point MMA program by itself. So some people come and say, I want to do that. They can sign up for that.
I might
Yes.
not want to do Taekwondo, but I like the point MMA.
Yeah.
I'm very fascinated by it. I want to join that part.
Yeah, because most people come and say, yeah, man, I want the MMA thing. I really want to go. And you sense, you sense they want to fight. And when you tell them, yeah, it's not the real MMA, you can still get that energy, get that workout, but you don't have to get in the ring. It's like, yeah, that's what I want. So I ain't got to get hit. It's control. Oh, yeah, let's go. So, and that's small.
Control that.
Yeah, it's a small amount of people, but I think the great thing that it does, it improves my retention. That's the cool thing. Yes, sir.
I need to understand how you qualify a point. So you're teaching an armbar. Are you teaching an armbar?
No, we don't teach.
No joint locks.
You can't do no
joint
joint
locks, no
locks.
chokes, no hitting to the face, no
Okay.
ground and pound.
So,
It's like your traditional Taekwondo point sparring,
right?
except so it's back fist, reverse punch, you're hitting the body, you're hitting the head, you're getting points for kicks and punches.
Okay.
And then if they go to the ground, they control. So it's basically get the kid on his back or on his front, hold him down, count to 5, everybody gets up, you get
So
up.
it's a pin.
Right.
It's a
So,
pin.
just so you'll understand, when I first went into this, my jiu-jitsu instructor was Lloyd Irvin. Okay, and I didn't did a lot of I didn't did all that with my instructor. So when we put this together, it wasn't me on the outside saying put these rules together. Those are the same amount of, you get 2 points for like a mount. That's what they do in jiu-jitsu anyway when you do jiu-jitsu competition. So we just give you 5 seconds to hold it and you gotta move. So if I got you got 5 seconds, I say move, move, move. Then you gotta move, 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 move. You gotta move, then you get back up. But if a guy is a great kicker and he Taekwondo, why would you wanna go on the ground? That's like back in see the beauty in this? If you were a kicker, what then happened, you now grappling when you ain't a grappler. And you don't really want to grapple, you really want to punch. So this curriculum allows you, and that's what we said at the event, if you're a puncher, use your punches. Learn to defend the grappling. But if you go down, you got 5 seconds, keep it going. And we try to keep the action, ain't no stop, move, stop. I guarantee you in 2 minutes, you think you're in shape and you call it point fighting? It's a whole new beast, yes sir.
How do you handle the takedowns? Are you doing throws or?
All the regular takedowns, judo takedowns.
Judo takedowns.
The same thing that they use, the same things that AAU approves in their league, that's what point MMA is based upon. So we're not a combat sport.
And it's a
We
point
are an
fight.
AAU sport.
Points.
Points, yes sir.
So it's continuous scoring. So you have 4 judges and they're just counting points. As
2
it
minute
goes.
rounds? What is it? 2
Two
minute?
2 minute rounds, right. And then in range, you gotta do 2 2-minute rounds. When you look at that DVD, you're gonna see all those guys that trick and everything. You see guys hitting people with cartwheel kicks, tornado kicks. The crowd like, oh my God, am I correct, Master Brown? We take it all and bring it together. If you're a tricker, why can't you fight with it? Come on now, that's martial arts. Billy Blank said people with cartwheel kicks. Yes, ma'am.
We usually start our sparring in green belt level, so if you were to integrate it with your program, I understand having a separate class and starting at white belt, but if you're integrating it with your program and they're a green belt, would you then go tell them to go put a white belt on you? How would you?
No, I mean, you can adjust it to whatever you already have set up. That's the beauty in it. But the way we set it up, based on my instructor, we introduce people in Kung Fu to sparring when they first come in. We call it rhythm drills. So if he's in a fighting stance, we got on all equipment. You throw 3 techniques, anything you want to throw. 1, 2, 3, then I throw it. 1, 2, 3, then 1, 2, 3, then 1, 2, 3. So they learn you got the equipment on just in case. See, that's my instructor. Just in case you hit, your mistake might happen. But guess what they learn? They learn in 3 combinations. And the key is if he's throwing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I got 1, 2, 3, and he got to go 1, 2, 3, no contact. So that's at the beginning level. Then when you go, so let's say that's your white belt. Now in your second belt, we say now do 2 techniques. 1, 2, and then 1, 2, and then 1, 2. Next belt, let's do 1 technique. 1. Now before you graduate out beginning level, That's free flow. No hitting. It's like capoeira. You're like, whoa, boom, boom. Everybody just moving and moving. Now you can see what that student's really good at. By the time they go to green belt, now you can implement the point sparring. And they're ready and they're comfortable and they understand attribute. It's not just fighting, attribute. Because if this guy hit, throw a punch. I got to be able to go back and he got to block. So we developing the attributes that really helps them to do what? Become an athlete, become a martial artist. So that's all we do at the beginning level. We did it with little dragons too. The little 4-year-olds got them little pads on, they running out, woo! And then you bring the parents on the floor, you get the parents doing it. It is an E.F.C system. Homegrown E.F.C system. Any other questions? Yes.
What is the price structure of how you set it up? Is it like a monthly pricing thing, or is it just a one-time charge? How does
I believe in account receivables. I believe in account receivables. You are not going to come to my school and not pay. You're going to do 6 months, then it's going to be 36 months. I don't care who you are. Every program is 36 months.
What I'm talking about for is
even that program. Oh, you mean licensing?
Yeah, I'm talking for us. If we was to get your program.
Okay, let me see what I'm gonna charge you. Let's charge them $20,000. I'll go because we believe in it so much and we just want to grow with E.F.C. and we know what's happening with Shark Tank and everything. I think what we said, let's do $4.99 for 2 people from one school. You can come out to the next seminar in December. We got 4 seminars at our school. We do it at our school because we got nothing but bags and I mean, how many people really work out and be punching the bags and hitting the bags and doing the speed bag and doing the top and bottom bag? We got all of that at our school. And I think by bringing people into our school, we can really control the technical aspect. So you can come out to the next the certification in December, 2 people for $4.99. After Shark Tank, it goes up to 1 person for $1,000 because we believe in that, just like CrossFit. Anybody, if you never know about CrossFit, go on CrossFit and look at their registration. Every seminar is sold out, right? $1,000 per person. I know what we do is better than what they do. I'm talking about not me, but us as an industry. And we waive, and normally it's a $5,000 startup fee, and we waive $2,500 for all E.F.C schools. We want to do whatever we can do to get about 20 people, whoever, that really want to grow with us and develop a good network. I love competing. I don't know about you. I love my students going on. Not everybody go, but what about now having a tournament where you can take the students to, and you don't have to. How many people have taken students out to tournaments? How many people have lost black belt contracts because of the politics? I call it politics, not politics. So when that promoter's sitting there and like, I ain't calling that, you don't have to come back. I'm like, but for real, I just lost 2 students.
I stopped going.
They signed up for 36-month contracts. We charge $200 a month. And you don't have a school. I ain't going back no more. So the only reason why we're doing this, because they got to compete, because we're in a competitive society, but we got to have events that understand that if you hurt that school owner, you hurt his income, and you can't do that. That's why we have Master Brown's event. We have the most prestigious events on the planet. We got the Arnold Show, Mr. Olympia, Action Star Hall of Fame. It's just a wide variety of competitions where they can go into where the concern is you. When you leave, we do not want that parent walking out that door upset, complaining. We want them to go home and having a good time. And we want it to be a great festivity over the weekend.
That was one reason that we decided to combine the Capital Classics tournament with the Summit next year. And you know, let's be real, that's just unheard of. I mean, I've been here 34 years. You know, I don't get Maya and Nap, who it is. You don't ever go there and hear them talking about competition, competing in tournaments. In fact, we came up, I spent 30 years with Mr. C telling folks you can't run a really good school and do competition. You got to pick one or the other, else your school's going to go down. And we all know that everybody in here has competed, or they compete, or they still like to fight. You don't just become a businessman and forget about it. But you'll be able to come and actually see the championship at the tournament. So if you stay over a day, even if you're coming here, like if this was over today, tonight the tournament starts, and they're going to have the Point MMA championships there. You'll see the people there. Well, you'll see everybody doing everything from extreme fighting to grappling to all of that. But the championship there is, for the last 2 years, we put it on the stage at night, and it has forced everybody else to change their point fighting. what NASCAR used to do at point fighting, it's kind of like on the back burner now. They call it extreme point. Well, what is that? We better start hitting a little bit more. We better start banging, because this is a continuous kind of fighting. You know, everybody's doing continuous now. But what is continuous? Well, you don't stop and call points. You just go in and bang for a round. Well, everybody's starting to move back in that direction. And and a lot of the traditionalist guys like myself, when the UFC and everything started hitting and everybody's traditional schools started dropping off, I told them, don't get mad at them. Don't get mad at the BJJ folks. They came out and said, you got to fight on the ground. You can't just every time somebody go down, go stop, let him up. You know, in fact, if you hit him on the ground, I'm going to disqualify you. They made everybody remember that you got to be a total fighter. And it forced everybody back to the middle. It forced everybody. I don't think that it always go. You got the Bill Wallace going, I ain't going to the ground. Well, you might. But everybody realized that we've got to go back to the original martial arts where you had to be able to fight up and down. You talk to guys from the 50s and 60s, a bunch of those old guys. We said, what's new about that? Didn't everybody fight all over? Didn't you do sway jiao? Didn't you do chin-ad? Didn't you do grappling? Didn't you do locking? I said, yeah, but there was about 3 decades where nobody did that, and then all of a sudden a new corps came along and said, we got to get back to real fighting. And we were saying, thank God, you know, we got to get back to this. So this forcing everybody to go back to something like this, and I think this is going to bring that whole generation back to that total fighting. Because when these guys came up, they were banging, but they were also taking guys down. One guy actually did an aerial and caught a guy with that axe kick from the air, and the whole audience went crazy. And because they had seen some guy doing tricky, and they was saying, what is that crazy stuff? Until somebody actually hit somebody. And Mike,
that was my son.
Yeah.
I got what I'm a big proud bird, you know.
The guy almost knocked him out. And we would say, hey, you know, if you're going to do all that crazy stuff, let me see if you can fight with it. So, I mean, I think it's bringing it back to the center for everybody. So, again, I'm one of those guys that when they first started doing it, and they said that none of that jump works over there because it's all going to come to the ground, and they started getting defensive, like, no, we're traditionalists. And I said, y'all be thankful, because they're making you real again. Because ain't nobody on the street going to stop and go, stop, let him up. They're not going to do that. It forced everybody to start getting real. So I think this is the answer to what we're seeing, the point MMA.
Yeah, I just have 2 quick points to make, and it pertains to your retention for your school, which I know everybody is always focused on. You know, being in the supply side, I talked to thousands of schools, and the one thing when UFC was getting big that all of them told me is people come in and they say, do you teach MMA? And they say, no, I teach Taekwondo. And they say, thank you very much, I'm going to go find another school. So by adding a program like Point MMA, it allows you to say yes to that question that I'm sure all of you get asked all the time. And you could say, yes, I teach MMA, I teach it to kids, and I teach it in a safe way, I teach it in a fun way. And the other part that helps so much is the camaraderie that Point MMA can bring to your school. You know, we do tournaments at big tournaments, but what we encourage you to do is create a league within your school where you can get 2 or 3 or 4 people on a team and have an event where blue team versus green team, and you get the parents as the coaches and you get the instructors as the timekeepers, and you do an event right there. And you do your own little tournament, you know, your round robin tournament, and you've got your Point MMA inside your school. And the camaraderie that builds, and the fun that everyone has, and the teamwork that it shares is just huge. And unfortunately, as they've both talked about, a lot of the schools have gotten away from sparring. Some of the best fighters I've ever seen in my life don't teach sparring in their school.
Let's stop that craziness. We got to fight.
Yeah.
And if anybody's out there, you from the school say we don't fight anymore, make it safe and let them fight. But at the end of the day, all the other stuff that we do, I know we make them better grades and we make them better people and build character. But at the end of the day, we're still martial arts. I believe we and some of you are looking like crazy because you're saying there's schools that don't fight. Yeah, there's a lot of schools now that say we don't teach fighting at all.
And one thing, let's really do something about obesity. Let's stop saying we combat obesity. Everybody know that workout that you went through, it does combat obesity. And the one thing, anybody read this? When you leave, go and buy this magazine and open up in the back and see how many kid fitness programs are in existence right now. And go to the next gym and realize how many of them now have taken your camps, your birthday parties, and all the things we had as babies. The gym's now doing better and more exciting because a family gym has the mommy and the daddy already there, and what are they gonna do? They're gonna sign little Johnny up for their little Tigers karate program, where somebody who got 6 months of martial arts experience can run.
Unless you're gonna start teaching sumo.
Yeah,
You can get big as you want.
yeah. Any other questions? We good? Thank you, everybody.
I might take up sumo. I want to eat.
And all that stuff is right in there.
No, not anymore.
Really? If you go to the website, you can register. And this guy's name right here. This guy's name right That's the special right there. Everything waived to the website, so it's online. So I can to school. Yeah, you get all that. You get the whole you'll get the monthly continuous education, and I want to show you like this about you. And the new year, which is ground and pound off the town, so we're going to supply you with all that type of material as well. That's the first step. Show up, get certified the first level. Once you get certified, then you can teach the first level, you do it all, and then you can come back and get the second, the third, and then you got 4 levels. It's every 3 months. If you want to get all out of one year, you can come to all 4 of them, and then they have help every 3 months. Each time. Right. If you don't, after the Shark Tank, it goes up to $1,000 of certification, and right now we're waiving it for $2,500. Normally it's $5,000 to start, but this is what normally happens when we did that. You'll get a whole supply of equipment, like heavy bags, and all those things that you need to retain 20 people, like focus pads and banana bags, everything with point and stuff. You'll be supplied. So by us waiving it, you're gonna get that, but you can come on in and get started and grow with us. It's like starting a new school. I just want some people that are serious and can see the vision on it and go, we make this. When we come together, it's not, you can take the techniques and say, look, we do it like this, and we bring that in and enhance it. This is not me. I didn't bring anything out of the structure. That's all, you know? Everybody got it. Can't get people to stand up. Ain't no probably. All right, man. Don't be making no false promises. Cause I'm seeing you. What shirt you got? What shirt you had on yesterday? Shaolin Wushu. Yeah. I know. That's why you need to be doing that. You know.
We go all the way to the extreme. That's true. You then you got a lot of guys out there that you thought was.
But I'm always going to be back in.
My attorney, I joined us.
I came up with it.
But now you give it to
I don't like how I'm feeling.
So you gonna be there? I'm right there. Don't worry.
Putting everything I can.
All right, yeah, it's right white.
Get all that straight.
Yeah, but you can go on the internet right and all that stuff. Let me see you, bro. But now I'm come looking for you. Yes, sir. All right.
What is the training? Bring the
The
growing
next
kicks.
one is
Oh, man. I was good. What's that?
Forced you to apply, right?
Somebody stop me.
yeah, there we go.
So let's bring growing kicks back. What was wrong with growing kicks?
The judges are bad, you tell your guy to
You
get
go online, you can register, and basically it's $4.99. You can bring you and anybody else you want to bring.
Always.
Okay, and $2,500 will be waived, so you don't have to put down. You don't normally what happens when you pay the whole $5,000, you get like 20 pads, 20 top pads, and 20 head gears, and whatever you need to start your program, you can get it now. But because we waived it, you don't get that, but you get a chance to come in, get certified with a friend, and start running the program.
We only do.
Yeah, another instructor. Yeah, there you go. And because the key thing too, you gotta have somebody that understands how to hold the pads and work the pads and all that. And can you imagine having a class, kids, not even the little kids, you tell every mom, get up. That's what we doing for the holidays. Every mom, get up, hold this pad. Now, little China, blah, 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 let's go. Now, if they doing it in the class, now how they put you at home? The same thing. They know what to do. They know what to do. It's getting that parents involved. So it's beyond just like, You can sit there when you talk about that, you can see it's so much bigger. This is like, it makes martial arts fun, man. You take the music when you heard the pads clapping in the clap, boom, boom, you know? So, yeah. So if you get a chance, you got a card or anything with you? Okay, Mike Bernardo. You know Mike Bernardo? Used to compete with him. We used to be on TV together on WBC Masters. Yeah, all right, man. So if you can come down. Okay, thank you. Yes, sir.
I got how to do it, so points, I can tell them.
What's your name?
He said, I can't do it, she ain't knockout.
That's right.
I'll come see your place.
This is gonna be 150 more ideas. I've been talking to the ladies, I've just got several things here that I just want to say in terms of what it is. I think it's a matter of
That's that point.
once we do that, I think in the meantime, North American sports, they're very interested. I haven't sent it out to them yet because I want to see what she's like. But after listening today, I'm saying,
I love it, you know.
it's the whole marriage, they do it. Wherever else, it needs to be done. It needs to be done now.
Yeah,
I mean, all these people here do TV, they can put me in.